So a few weeks ago, the Atlantic Online posted an article that caught the attention of many Utah families, and for good reason. The title was Mormon's Weekly Family Ritual is an Antidote to Fast-Paced Living. So, of course, they were referencing the practice of family home evening, time set aside each week, typically on a Monday night, when Mormon families consistently connect and come together. So, according to the article, it's a tradition that has taken on new relevance in a modern, fast-paced culture. It encourages a family closeness that right now is being replaced elsewhere by technology. It promotes a oneness in family dynamics. And one researcher quoted throughout the article, who extensively studied religious practices for the last 40 years, went as far as to call it the most successful religious program fostering the nurturing of families. So no matter your faith, your personal beliefs, whether you're religious or not, my next guest believes and holds firm that all families can benefit from consistent family rituals like family home evening. Joining me is Studio 5 parenting contributor Heather Johnson, who also happens to be a self-described ritual research nut. She would like to do this segment standing up because you're practically jumping out of your chair with this.
We should be standing.
Why is this such a passion point for you?
Oh gosh. Okay, well, I think first because I've lived it. So I've come to know of the truth of it, right? I know rituals are that powerful. I've had those experiences, excuse me. Second, I have watched for over 17 years now, professionally, I've watched rituals dynamically changed families. They have healed relationships, they have healed marriages, they have connected families that never thought they could. Rituals are amazing. And on top of that, the research is extensive. This is not new research, right? 1950, landmark study that looked at family rituals and immediately found the same things then that we find now. We ran into studies in the 70s and 80s that were so powerful that they actually suggested that families who protect rituals are less likely to transmit diseases such as alcoholism from generation to generation.
Wow.
I mean, even just saying that out loud, being willing to entertain that as a conclusion, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. It's bold.
This article was bold as well. It used Mormon's family home evening as kind of the catapult here. But one of the key points in that article that caught my attention as well, it says ultimately what seems to matter most about family home evening is not the specific rituals, but that there are rituals at all. That a family decides to set aside a specific time of the week to gather and have a meaningful experience together. So are these family rituals really as vital as these words make them sound?
Absolutely. In fact, I mean, like I said, we should be standing up. We should be like, this is a thing. We need to fight for this. It's a really big deal.
You've got a handful of reasons why that kind of back up and put into practice this idea. And the first you say is those rituals offer predictability.
They do. They make things predictable. Now, here's the thing about predictability. Predictability directly translates to safety and security.
And we know kids need that.
We know kids need it, and let's be honest, me too, right? I need those things. They offer an opportunity to have that safety and security that we need every day. Now, we don't think of it that way, but it does. Eating together as a family every night offers our families an opportunity to feel safe about that time. We know what to expect. We know we'll get time together. We know how powerful those things will be, and so we're willing to buy into them. So we have that. And even when we look at rituals, rituals are meaningful patterns of interaction. We'll talk about meaning in a minute, but these are things that we do over and over that mean something to us.
Does it matter the size or the magnitude, big or small? I mean, I'm thinking of silly little songs we used to sing as a family, and those songs made me feel like I belonged to a unique group. There was a sense of belonging that came.
It's exactly right, and that's one of the huge benefits of this. It provides us with that sense of belonging, and even bigger than that, it provides us with a sense of identity. We know who we belong to. We've got this group of people that understand, have shared experiences. We have memories we've shared together. We have obstacles. We have the good and the bad. You know, that family vacation you have every single, summer. Sometimes you get the flat tire. Sometimes things don't go right. And it's very much creating those experiences and having them together. And then being able to use those year after year after year, generation after generation, to build upon, to share those things together.
You say rituals can offset the crazy of life because they offer that connection.
Yes, and life gets crazier and crazier. It's not going anywhere. We are totally in control, and at the same time, we've got to find ways to connect every single day. I know one of the rituals in our household right now that I hold very dear to is my husband helping put our kids to bed at night. He's gone all day. He doesn't hear the playground stories. He's not helping so much with the, right after school homework. He's not busing and shuttling as much as I am. But every night there's an opportunity because of a bedtime ritual for the two of them, 6 times to connect, to have those experiences. This connection, again, helps us wake up the next morning and be on the same team.
So again, I'm somewhat curious about the type of ritual. Do we know anything about what type? Because I know values, promoting values is a huge part of this as well. You want to work those values into the rituals. So does the type of ritual make a difference?
So it's not so much the activity we're doing. Remember, these are meaningful patterns of interaction. What's going to work for you could be totally different for me.
Okay.
Right? And so if we talk about some of the characteristics that will help us with this, right? The first thing is, don't understand this as finding more stuff to put on your family calendar. That's overwhelming. Take instead what you're already doing and add meaning. That's the difference between a routine and a ritual. A routine are those things we have to do all the time that are repeated that don't mean anything to us. A ritual very much has meaning, right? So for example, and as silly as this is, and I've probably shared it, about 3 weeks into our marriage, my husband one night, put toothpaste on my toothbrush. Right?
Yes.
Very silly. But 17 years later, one of my very favorite rituals of connection for he and I is whoever gets to the bathroom first always puts toothpaste on the other person's toothbrush.
So much, yeah.
Now, the difference, because brushing my teeth doesn't mean anything to me, except it keeps me away from the dentist. It means something now, though. So now it's a ritual to us. I hold fast to that. I hold dear to those experiences where for 4 seconds we think about one another. So add meaning. Don't go get new things. Add meaning to what exists.
And you touched on this, but looking for rituals that will meet your family's needs, meet what they're craving at the time. You also want these rituals to have a transition and an exit phase. Explain that.
So understanding what a ritual looks like, we want to know how we get into it and we want to know how we get out of it so that we're all on the same page. So for example, if you look at family dinner, maybe your mom rang a bell and you knew that that was the call for everyone to show up at the dinner table. Or maybe you started dinner with a prayer, which meant cell phones out, technology off, this is where we're at for the next 45 minutes. Maybe an exit phase meant that you had to ask to be excused. But what it does is it transfers us to ritual space, and then it gets us from ritual space back to the everyday space.
Kind of a formality of sorts.
And we don't need to make it big or grand or strange. It's just simply being on the same page. People know what to expect. And so when we know what to expect, we can buy into that because we also know the benefits of meeting those expectations.
You want us to repeat and coordinate, and as our families get older, be willing to let those rituals evolve.
Be really flexible, and we have to, because it's not so much about what you do, right? So for example, if spending time together is the value behind your ritual and that's what matters to you, it doesn't necessarily matter if you do that bowling or pulling weeds or going skiing. You're going to find the time and energy to spend time together. So be flexible. We've got to. Our families change, and so we've got to be flexible with those things.
I felt your passion. I appreciate it. We appreciate it, Heather. Thank you so much.